coming up 32 years. Remarkable since I'm only 35. Uh, but also, like most of the times that I may be gone from Bible study on Wednesdays because I'm also an instructor uh, for the Department of Justice at our training center in South Carolina, the Legal Advocacy Center, National Advocacy Center. And so this has been, and quite frankly, the topic created much interest for me because when I started at the U.S. Attorney's Office, one of the projects our office back there in 2001 did a video on identity theft, and I was doing research on it for, gosh, almost a year uh, to do that, and while we made the video, and so it has been an interest because I will tell you one thing that happens is, uh, as you see on the outline, identity theft happens just because it's a fact of modern life. Uh, how many of you have a credit card, debit card, right? Uh, how many of you have check? How many of you have social security number? Guarantee, you ready? You have been a victim identity theft, or you will be, and you will continue to be. Uh, the only question is really, what are you going to do uh, with it? And we see on the news. I said, okay, fine. The news kind of gave me a hook for my lesson. Uh, I think it was last week before last. They Capital One talked about a breach in their account. Equifax, one of the reporting agencies, one of the credit reporting agencies, had a breach. Over 170 million names uh, were exposed to some level of threat. We hear it even just in the news about scams and fraud and theft. And the thing is, it's illegal. All right. The slide I won't get it. It's not up there yet, but the Penal Code, California Penal Code Section 530.5 says every person who willfully obtains personal identifying information as defined in subdivision B of Section 530.55 of another person and then uses that information for any unlawful purpose, including to obtain or attempt to obtain credit goods, services, real property, and list other things. But notice it says in county jail not to exceed 1 year or by both a fine and imprisonment. And I'm like, you stole my stuff and all you get is a year, right? And you think about it, it's like, okay, that's there. Uh, that's not a part on your sheet, but 18 United States Code section 1028A says you're guilty of identity theft if you do it, but you have to do another crime in order to do it. So you have to serve that sentence first before you get tacked on the identity theft. And sometimes they will run it concurrently. So as you can see, and the punishment, even federally, is only 2 years. And you think about it, because here we go. Ready? The last year we have completed statistics, 2016, 26 million Americans. That's 10% of the population age 16 and up were victims of identity theft. And there's been nearly 500,000 complaints to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. 18%, if you're I think only one would qualify in the 20 to 30 range here right now. 18% of the fraud victims have been in that age group. But you think about it, ready? Identity theft is not a new thing. If you look on your sheet there, look at your Bible at Genesis 27. We know the story of Isaac and Jacob and Esau and Rebekah, that whole family. Isaac wanted to bless Esau, give him that blessing because he thought he was dying. And Rebecca heard it because Jacob was her favorite. So you got this whole tricky family uh, issue going on. But look at Genesis 27, starting verse 11. It says, "But look, Jacob replied to Rebekah." Now Rebekah came up with this plan. You gonna pretend you're Isaac, you're Esau, but Esau was a hairy guy. Jacob had smooth skin. Jacob was a man of the house. Esau was a hunter. So Esau went to go get the game. But look what Mama helps to do in verse 11. It said, "But look," Jacob replied to Rebekah, "my brother Esau is a hairy man, and my skin is smooth. What if my father touches me? He'll see that I'm trying to trick him, and he'll curse me instead of blessing me." So and in verse 14, it says, "So Jacob went out and got the young goats for his mother. Rebekah took them and prepared a delicious meal, just the way Isaac liked it. Then she took Esau's favorite clothes, which were in the house, and gave them to her younger son Jacob. She covered his arms and a smooth part of the neck with the skin of the young goats. Then she gave Jacob the delicious meal, including freshly baked bread." See, and you see Jacob wasn't quite buying it, because when you look down at verse 20, it says Isaac asked, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" And it says, "The Lord your God put it in my path," Jacob replied. This boy's lying to his daddy. Right? And it says, "Then Isaac said to Jacob," now notice Isaac's like, okay, something is a little fishy. So I'm going to test you. It says, "Come closer so I can touch you and make sure that you're really Esau." Now Isaac is blind. And it says in verse 22, "So Jacob went closer to his father, and Isaac touched him. The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau," Isaac said. But he did not recognize Jacob, because Jacob's hands felt hairy just like Esau's. So Isaac prepared to bless Jacob. "But are you really my son Esau?" he asked. "Yes, I am," Jacob replied. You think about, you're sitting up there lying. But that's not the only case. Ready? Because what goes around comes around. Fast forward to Genesis 37, where now Jacob has a favorite son, Joseph, who got his coat of many colors, doesn't have to work. His brothers are out in the field. Look at verse 31. It says, "So they took Joseph's tunic, killed a kid of goats, and dipped the tunic in the blood. Then they sent the tunic of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, 'We have found this. Do you know whether it is your son's tunic or not?' And he recognized it and said, 'It is my son's tunic. A wild beast has devoured him. Without doubt, Joseph is torn into pieces.'" You tricking your daddy like this. "Then Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son many days." In this case, they took the goat's identity and pretending it was Jacob. But it gets worse. Look at 2 Corinthians 11. Notice what the Apostle Paul writes to the church. He says, "But I will continue doing what I've always done. This will undercut those who are looking for an opportunity to boast that their work is just like ours. These people are false apostles. They are deceitful workers who disguise themselves as apostles of Christ. But I am not surprised. Even Satan disguises himself as what? As an angel of light. So it is no wonder that his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. In the end, they will get the punishment their wicked deeds deserve." The devil is taking identity. Because really, what does it amount to is deception. And deception is an act or statement which misleads, hides the truth, or promotes a belief or idea that is not true. It is often done for personal gain or advantage. Deception can involve dissimulation, propaganda, and sleight of hand, as well as distraction, camouflage, and concealment. What's behind identity theft? It's simple deception. It means, and think how often people are deceived. In some cases, people are deceived into revealing so much information about their identity, and you know, before you know it, you've been hoodwinked. But Reverend Trailer Sunday, I said I thought he was going to take part of the message tonight, because look what Jesus said in Mark 13, verse 5 and 6. He says, and Jesus answers them, began to say, take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name saying what? I am he, and will what? You're going to deceive many. Skip down to verse 22. It says, for false Christs and false prophets will arise and show signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. But Jesus says, but take heed. See, I've told you things beforehand. And when you get there, you'll have to bring the screen closer. Thank you. When you get there, you're going to find out. Here's the key. Ready? All of us here, ready, have a credit card. Credit card, debit card. How many of you have a social media account? Facebook, Twitter, all that, right? How many of you just use a computer? Your iPad is a computer. Right? Ready? And the minute you walk out, ready, you'll encounter a simple thief. Because what happens is a credit card, when you swipe it, right? Who's looking at your information? Once you take, ready? Here we go. Once you take that card, I was at one of my favorite restaurants, and I time to pay. I gave them my card, and they took it. Right? Where'd they take it? Yeah, they took it to the back. But ready? It was out of my sight. And you hope that they honest. Right? You think about your social media account. We are willingly giving up information about ourselves that should be private. We have cases, I know that, like on Twitter and Instagram, our office has dealt with cases of kids who have just innocently had a Twitter account and an Instagram, and they posted, oh, I go to such and such a school and I can't stand it. I don't like Mr. So-and-so. And then when I come home, I'm by myself and I hate all it. And it's like, you look at it, and so somebody, replies back. And what you don't realize, in the case that I'm thinking about, there's a pedophile who says, okay, they're at Valencia High. They get out there. They're home alone. Most of the time, they have a picture up there. So spotting this kid and following the kid, he's already told you he's home alone, and there they abduct or they molest. I mean, some of the stuff that we deal with, you just like, really? Why? Because you opened yourself up on social media. Anytime you use a computer, you're going online, you'll know sometimes they have captured your information. On your computer, they put what we know as cookies. What it does, it helps load it early the next time, but people can access that. And one of the things we don't look at it, I'll call it a simple thief, right? Tomorrow is my trash day, right? I put my trash out at night because I leave early in the morning, and my trash people start to pick up a little after 6 o'clock, right? And when they do that, You don't know at 10:30 at night who's dumpster diving in your trash can, right? So, and here it is. Part of the thing is we don't want you paranoid, but because here it is, ready? What is identity theft? Identity theft is when thieves steal your personal information in order to take over or open new accounts, file fake tax returns, rent or buy properties, or do other criminal things in your name. It's designed to get money and stuff, right? And here we go. Ready? I said it's going to be practical. Be smart on the internet and don't open the door to criminals. In our computer age, everything is done online, from your banking to your shopping to quite frankly, you could be one of those hermits and never leave your house. You could never even have used a computer, but somebody else has the information. So I'm going to ask you a question. Ready? What's the product social media sites are selling? Whatever you open up and let them know. What are they selling? Convenience. What are they selling? Connection. What are they selling? Ready? What they're selling? You ready? What they're selling is you. They don't have a product to sell. When you access it, when you open an account, ready? You become the product. You become the person that they say, oh, there's an advertiser. I'm on the internet 6 hours a day with my job as a librarian, right? And there's sometimes I do research for other things. And even though we have security features on those Department of Justice computers that are strong, I could research something at work. When I get home on my Facebook account, I have one, right? There will be ads on the right-hand side for stuff that I did at work. Even sometimes when I have been at work and I wanted to check the price of an airfare, when I get home, Southwest will send me an email to say, are you still ready to book that flight to Dallas? Right? Why? Because you are the product. And one thing that Facebook freely admits is that once you've agreed to the terms and conditions that you already did when you signed up on the site, you granted the company an exclusive, transferable, sublicensable, royalty-free, and worldwide license to host, use, distribute, modify, run, copy, publicly perform or display, translate, and create derivatives works on your content. All that is saying is, ready? If you put your picture up there, they could use it. And there was something out there that people tried to do. They say, Facebook things are going public, and I hereby revoke all rights for them to use my image and all that other stuff. And I said, that's the biggest waste of time, the biggest joke ever, because when you signed up, you gave, and even if you try to revoke it, you cannot do a single person, you can't do a one-sided revocation. They have to agree to it, and they didn't. So as long as you keep using it, you're agreeing to it. So here it is. You have to, one thing you have to do, ready? You have to control your permission when you access certain things. When you, what was that game? Candy Crush and Angry, but whatever, and all those games, ready? There's some controls that people just sign up for, and they don't play with, they don't limit the controls, right? Many of the quizzes that I've seen pop up, what are they designed to do? Ready? All they do is give out your information that you should be keeping quiet. But here's the thing. Some of the other things, look at some of those things that we've done. Some things are out there. Think of classmates. My high school reunion is coming up later this year, and there's like classmates, and it lets you know, because sometimes if you look at your bank account, how many of you bank online? Right? If you look at your bank account sometime, they will ask you some security questions. so they could verify it's you. And if there's something when you trying to access it from a new computer, and they will ask you things like, what was your elementary school? Who was your favorite teacher? Well, these, if you have put that information in these certain sites, you could just look at it. Oh, you went to Hacienda Heights Elementary School. Your favorite teacher was Mrs. Brown. And why? Because you've already said it. Your children's names, like sometimes on Facebook, the family connections that you put in. We had a case that I was looking for a particular individual, and it's like, okay, how could we find it? This individual had his Facebook account really open, and it hooked up to his father, who was the criminal, and you found the father, the criminal, through the son's information that he had put out, right? All those other things, right? Sometimes you have to control what's out there. Because here's the thing, ready? Think before you post. And most people don't think. They think, I'm just showing how cute I am, right? You put the selfie here. Here I am at the Empire State Building. Here I am in Washington, D.C., right? What is that telling the crook? You're not at home, right? You just think you're having fun. No, it tells you're not at home. One of the things, this thing said, I love it. Ready? Would you want your grandma to see that? And sometimes, oh, you're being prudent. No. Would you want, if grandma looked at that, would she say, boy, we need to pray? All right. Do you really think it's private? People share way too much information, right? Would you say that to someone's face? I was checked about that one time when it was a funny thing that I saw downtown, this person, and I took a picture and I posted it with my joke, and it was like, okay, now if she saw that, would she be laughing? And it's like, no, right? So don't do it, right? Is that your work to publish? Sometimes people put other stuff down without attributing what is there. What if someone published a photo like that of you? And that was, I was saying, it's like, oops, right? Never share information, especially your address and your phone number. I've seen people, friends of mine, post, oh, so-and-so, call me at, I'm at 213, 379, and it's like, why are you putting that out there? Right. Part of the thing is that you have to think. And even though you may take it down. Once it goes online, it's never down. There's some things you can find. Yes, ma'am. Okay, texting is with your phone back and forth. But here's the thing. Ready? Not in Facebook, but anything that you do online. Ready? Here's the thing. Here's a question always you ask. Ready? What are they going to do with the information I've willingly provided? When you provide your information, who has it and what are they going to do with it? Siri and Alexa, for some people, are good. I would not have Alexa in my house because you're talking into it, and it's not just the box no, you're talking into it, and somebody is collecting that information. Now, there's a whole lot of folks with Siri, so you can't read everybody's, but I mean, it's been studies, been found out that they have found out more information, and Google and Apple have said, okay, no, we're not using that. And as I want to say, you're just a liar. You're when it's out there, right? We saw in the last presidential election about WikiLeaks and the hackers that what you thought was a private email all of a sudden became public. Why? Because someone had access that shouldn't have had access, or if they did, they had sinister motives behind it. So we see there's a whole lot of stuff out there. So for the rest of the lesson, ready? We want to protect ourselves. You will never be able to stop it. And I hate to say that because sometimes it's out of your control. When Capital One has my information, I can't help it that somebody hacked them and got it, right? But when you find it, you got to make sure you protect yourself. Because here's the first thing, ready? Be suspicious. Be suspicious. Here we go, ready? The IRS is not going to call you, demand you pay using a gift card, and have them give the call over the phone. What will the IRS do? They will send you a letter saying you owe some money, right? If you don't pay, they will send you another letter saying you owe some money, right? Then they send you a third, fourth, fifth letter saying you need to pay us the money. What will they do after that? They will say to your bank account, they will go to your job, and they will take their money. And when you say, wait a minute, my check is $2,000 and it's supposed to be $2,500. And when you look on deductions, it will say IRS lien. Oh yeah, it happened to a lady I work with. Her husband, she didn't realize her husband was keeping the bills, and he didn't tell her that they owed something, and he forgot to pay it. And they took $250 from her check, $250 from his, and she was hotter than fish grease. Right? You will not be called notifying you that your information has been hacked. And when they call press 2 to speak with the Microsoft technician, these same people have been calling my house for the last 2 weeks, 2-3 times a day right after. It's like you not calling. And here's the thing, ready? Do not ever pick up or touch the button. Why? Because that lets them know this is a live number. Don't call someone. We will call up and say, "Don't you ever call me again." No. That just says, "Oh, we got a live person." Right? There is not a Nigerian prince who received an inheritance, but doesn't have a bank account in the U.S. and they're gonna give you 10% if you give them your bank account and let you put it in. Oh, that's stupid. Guess what? Our office has a whole unit dedicated to prosecuting people who have been swindled. Right? Here's last one on this page. Your child is not in jail, and you do not need to go to Walmart in order to send a MoneyGram to bail them out of the Mexican jail. Right? My mother got that scam and lost $1,000 because somebody called in a panicked voice, Grandma, oh, I'm in jail, and I went down, oh, Grandma, and she was like, who? And she started giving out grandchild's, oh my God, and now she's panicked, ready, and she quit thinking, and she went down to Walmart, and she wired $1,000 to this number, and then got mad when her grandson came to the house. So how was Mexico? And he was like, she'd been scammed. And when she got scammed, you're embarrassed, right? She didn't want to tell us, but we found out. And I told her, I said, Mom, they got your number. They know you're gullible. They're going to call you again. When they call me again, I'm going to hang up. Yes, hang up. Do not, right? Called again. This time, she called me. Oh my God. I just got a call from Christina. She's in jail. And I said, no, Mom, no, she's not. I left her at home in bed. She is not in. But I got her, Mom, remember when you got scammed? And I said, I will. I was at work. I said, I will have her call you. And what she did, she got panicked, and she was feeding them information, and so they just fed it. They just fed it back to her. Right? Be suspicious. Here's ready. The slide on the left hand side. I got that on my cell phone. Uh, according to our support department, your Facebook account must be reconfirmed today. Click on that. Click on that link. All that link was going to do was hack in to my information, and I just slide, delete, go. Right? Here's another. When clicking on an email link that sometimes you're sending your email, it's something that Sister Patrice started last week. It's called a phishing expedition. When it's going to look like Bank of America sent you an email, right? Here's what you notice. Ready? Because my bank will send me an email. But what my bank will do will say, your account that ends in 3728 has some issue. Right? Or they will give you the information. Even with that, ready? Don't click on the link that's there. Go type in the browser bankofamerica.com yourself. Put in your information, and they will pop up if they sent you a message. But most people, you click on it, and it looks. I remember one time I saw something. And I clicked on, and I didn't think, because it was Citibank. And I was like, oh, and I was like, what? And I started, and then when I looked at it, I didn't click on, and I called them. And then it hit me. I said, wait a minute. You don't have Citibank. It's Chase. And when I'm talking to the lady, because she's like, sir, we don't know me. And I'm like, now here I am. I'm the expert. And I like, whoa. And then it's like, I mean, I didn't click on but when I saw it, I'm like, okay, what's up with this, y'all? And that's what I said. Wait a minute. No, I'm not with Citibank. I have a Chase account. And see, ready? If the caller uses fear, threats, intimidation, they're not legitimate. If you have to do it right now, it's not legit. See, one thing you have to do when you go online, when you go, like this is I got this from Capital One. If you look it up here in the corner, there should be a lock that lets you know it's a secured site. Okay? Especially if you go on banking information, look for that lock. And if you want to check just to make sure, if you click on the lock, digital certificate will open up. Oh, this certificate is owned by Capital One in Richmond, Virginia. That will let you know it's a legitimate site. Because you have site spoofing that they will put the name, put the stuff, and they may have CapitalOne.com / we are really crooks. And you don't, because when you put in a hyperlink, you could put the whole URL in there, but you just put it, it's just identified with Capital One. So you want to make sure, ready? You always have to watch, because here we go. Remember I said earlier, you are going to be a victim. If and when you're a victim, ready, you need to be prepared for a couple of things. Because here we go. See, now I got to put my pastor hat back on. Proverbs 22, verse 1. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor rather than silver or gold. The thieves are going after your good name. Some of us, we've built years of good credit history, and it could be destroyed in a matter of days. Why? Because they're playing on your good name. You don't want personal information about you to be erroneously broadcasted. And sometimes, because if there's a problem, you start getting calls from credit card company and like, you didn't pay us this month. And like, I didn't pay you because I don't owe you. And sometimes that's how we found out what's going on. So here's some of the things. Ready? Here's some of the things you need to do. Number one, report the crime to the proper authorities. Even though I hate to say it, but I'll say it. Even though chances are they're not going to do anything. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a low-level crime, right? The bank got swindled. The bank is making so much money, they don't care. Probably shouldn't say that, but I tell you, bank ain't caring, right? But you need to report it because, number one, you need to protect you, all right? Second thing is notify your bank and your credit card company, right? If your account has been hacked, right, get a new card to change your account numbers, right? Here's the next one. Ready? Review your how many of you review your financial statements monthly? I will tell you, you'll be surprised the number of people who get a credit card and they'll just say your payment is such and such dollar and they pay it. Right? Here we go. Here's the thing. Several years ago, I got a Chevron credit card. And sometimes it's like, okay, I get gas. There's Cindy's car, there was Chelsea's car, my car. So I mean, it's like, yeah, my gas bill is higher than normal. And I usually limit Chevron, Shell, or Sam's Club. So on Chevron, all of a sudden, when I open my account, that's like, I didn't buy this. I know I did not buy this much gas. And when I looked at the charges, they were all over the place. To make it easier for me to identify when you got 3-4 cars to deal with, when I get gas, I'll tell you my secret is that I always round it off to top of the dollar. So $20, bam, right? Every now and then my hand get too heavy and it's 20, but I'll know it. So when I got that card, it was like I had gas purchase for 79-cent thing, $30.79, $45, 22. And I called them up. I said, those are mine. Sir, how do you know? If you look all mine, it ends in 0. None of these end in 0. So it's like, y'all take it all off, right? Take it all off and send me my new card. Cancel this account. Why? Because you have to check, right? Reset your password. And sometimes some places now, they start making you do it regularly. There's a couple of websites that I go into from work. I have to change my password either between 120 180 days. It's like trying to remember. Now I do something you're not supposed to do, but I write down my passwords. Why? Because I have 8 pages of passwords. I'm over 35. I cannot remember 8 pages of passwords, right? But one thing you have to do, there's a website that's by the Federal Trade Commission, identitytheft.gov. And if it happens, go there and click on Get Started. And they will walk you through how was it stolen, what you should do. There are 30 different types of identity theft things. There's a complaint that you get to fill out. And it's all click and go, but it's unique. You have to enter some information so not just anybody can access it. You'll have to enter your social security number. It's a safer thing. Most places we'd say, "Ready, don't give nobody my social." This one you need to. Then then they'll give you a personal recovery plan, right? How you need to put an alert on certain accounts, who you need to call, who you need to file a report. Sometimes, because sometimes if it's a smaller business, they're like, wait a minute, we're out of money. And you'll say, hey, you know what? That was fraud. That's not my problem. If You use a credit card. Here's the thing. If you use a credit card, you are only liable for up to $50. Now, most of the time, the bank will waive the whole thing, but by law, it's up to $50. If you use your debit card at certain places, the limit is $300. Yes, $300. So that if even they stole it from you, you are technically liable for $300 of up to $300 of the theft. So you want to make like sometimes, but if you use a credit card, as Sister Patrice said, be sure to pay it off, right? Number one, then because when all that happens, it's probably on your credit report. And here's a page of this is letter you get to send to them to say, that's not me. Y'all need to remove it because that will affect your credit score, right? And then it will give you. Okay, they did this. That's what happened last time. All the things didn't load right. They'll give you some pre-filled letters that you could use. So here is, I wish the slide was still up because this is important. You are entitled to one free credit report every year from all the 3 credit reporting agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And here's the tip. Ready? Don't get all 3 the same day. Okay? It's August. August, get 1. Get Experian. Right? December, get Equifax. Next April, get TransUnion. And 4 months later, when it's time for Experian, you get it again. What it does, every 4 months, you're maintaining vigilance over what's there. And here's the thing. They're going to try to get you to pay for your credit thing. We'll do a credit monitoring for you. I don't need the credit monitor. I can monitor it myself. And here it is that, see, I haven't seen the commercial recently, but it was, this little country jingle about free credit report. Well, it's not free. They want to put it in. They'll get you a free one and then sign you up to monitor it. So, like I said, there's 3 agencies, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Make sure you're doing one thing that they will not do. That'll just see your credit. They will not give you your credit score. You have to sign up for that. But many times your bank will give it for you for free. So don't even sign up for that. Or if you do sign up for their credit monitoring and they'll give you the score, they give you a month free. Make sure you put a tickler on your calendar that before the end of the month, cancel it. Right? And here's the other thing you could do. Ready? How many of you know I am not in the market to buy a car, to get another credit card. I'm not moving, right? If you know in the next few months that you're not going to need any credit, on all 3 of those companies, you could do a credit card, a credit freeze. And what that does, it freezes everything. But if you do need to go, you could access them and say, okay, unfreeze me for the moment because I'm getting, I need to go buy a car and I need to, get finance or something. You freeze your credit so nobody can open anything. Not even check it. They can't open it because how many of us get in the mail requests to get credit cards? Okay. Most of us, we just throw it away, right? Right? No. Don't throw it away. Everybody should have a shredder. But here we go. Most folks don't. And you throw it away. And remember I said on trash day, who goes in your trash can? You don't know who's in your trash can. And ready? It has, in many cases, they've accessed, they know you've done something. They put your full name, they know where you live. So somebody tries to open it. Right? If you put a credit freeze, because the credit card company or the bank will check your credit to make sure you're credit worthy. And if you got a credit freeze, it's like, oh no, she's frozen. We can't open it. Right? You have to so all of them, if you go online, you could put a freeze on your account. And here's the last thing, because my time is always up. Passwords, right? Protecting yourself against identity fraud, thefts, and scams. Last line of defense is passwords. Do you know what the most common password is? Password. The word password. The most common password is the word password. You know what the second most common is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. You're lazy. You don't want to remember. Here we go. Ready? What should never be a password? Your birthday, your name, your children's name. Or if you do use your children's name, you know, like me, the L's can become a 1, the O in Cornell can become a 0. So, I mean, you have to do something you could remember. So you want to do it. And I found this, it's a clue there for making a strong password. The longer, the better. But look on the outline what you have there. Ready? Creating a strong password. Start with a basic one. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that easy to remember? Mm-hmm. How can we boost that password? Right? Add the word password in front of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And especially now, you have to make sure that the site says that your password needs to be case specific. So on this one, they gave the illustration: capital P, lowercase a, capital SSW, lowercase o, R, capital D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's but ready? You can remember if it's like, okay, I got. Sometimes it's like capital lowercase, capital lowercase, capital lower. You could do it to just for you. Once you do that, it's pretty secure, right? But we can further make it secure by just password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead of saying password, capital lowercase, intersperse the numbers with the word. So P, and use the symbols on top. P, ampersand, dollar signal for S's, capital W, O, R, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Even if you, okay, ready? Even if you say you can't remember that, yes, you can. Because once you start doing it, you'll know it. There's some things with some passwords I don't even have to think about it anymore. There's some things that because I have so many, there's a system that I have to help me remember. So now I don't have to think about it, right? But look at the final thing there. Ready? They did password and they just put ampersands. The last one they put number 1, capital P, ampersand, 2, dollar signal, number 3, W, capital W, lowercase o, the number 4, R, D, 5. The difference between the basic password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the final password here is 81 quintillion 138 quadrillion 3. I had to look up how many numbers that was. Ready? But ready? Something like that, the probability of that being hacked is almost zero. But ready? You know, all it is ready, password 12345. And if you know, okay, instead of A, I use the ampersand because the A is in the ampersand. Instead of the S, I use the dollar sign, right? Sometimes if you have something with the C, you could use the cent sign. Lowercase up. What does that do? It makes it harder for a thief because the last thing I want to say is from Matthew 24:43. Notice what Jesus says about his second coming. And yeah, I'm going to take some liberties with this. It says, Jesus says, but know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. A thief has never told me I will be there at 10:55 a.m. Right? Notice what Jesus says. Therefore, you also be what? Ready. Right? Part of what this series is that ready. You just need to be ready because something's coming and you need to be prepared. The last slide is there some resources. You had a question, Sister Esther. We could do security features and all those things, but see, we want to make sure ready. Whatever we do, right? Because the one thing you could never get back, ready, is a good name. And that's what this is. It's working on your good name. I have some things. There's some further resources there. The annual credit report that's there. There's a YouTube video that's very brief on 5 ways to protect your identity. A couple of articles and things there. So I encourage you to do that because I would, like I said, unfortunately, all of us, we have the potential, even if we are not. You have the potential, and you need to be safeguarded. Amen. Amen. Yes. What I think about LifeLock, I think it's right up there with everything else. If it costs you money, you don't need to do it. If you put a freeze on it, that does the same thing LifeLock does. Yeah, yeah. The freezes don't because you know most people don't act. Once you have credit, you usually you're not looking. As rest of the time, you just have to manage what you got. And those things is like if you put a freeze on it, it does the same thing. And if you can check, because sometimes you get, there's something with my daughter right now, and it's like, and I have to make sure you be sure that you check your credit report because this mishap that happened. Make sure that they don't put it on your report because ready, if you challenge what's on your report, I believe they have 90 days to verify it. Otherwise, it has to be removed. And you'll be surprised because someone manually is putting this information in. And I have gotten, when I've searched for things, because one thing's when I'm testing out websites and new things that we have at work, I always put in me because I know my info. And my info has been merged with other people's info. And I think because my social security number is very close to theirs, and instead of putting a 3 for me, they put it as a 6 and it's somebody else's, and the computer says, okay, it's John Doe, and it's just hooked to me, and I was like, that's not me. So but when you do it, when I got my credit report, unfortunately, My thing I saw was 43 pages long. But you know, it's like it had, but literally, ready? It is a life financial history, and and it has, I mean, stuff. It even had a Mervin's credit card. You know how long Mervin's been gone? I had a Mervin's, what, 15 years ago before they filed for bankruptcy. So it's there. All right. Any questions? All right. Let's receive our offering for this evening. Thank you for being out tonight. Yes. No, you can't call. You have to go online. You have to go online to call to do it. But it's very easy, and they'll have you put in some information to verify it's you. Just like when you go on the credit card company, I mean on the um, credit report. Uh, when I did up mine on Experian, they started asking me these questions, and it's like, I don't, you know, what's your mortgage? And they gave you three choices, and you get it wrong, they'll kick you out. I don't write the check for the mortgage. Cindy does, and I'm like, what was because it's close that you'll say, I don't remember. I think it's and it's like, so those things are safeguards that are there. All right. Now, are there any? I don't have my pen. Well, I'll just use the phone. I'll use the phone. Are there any matters of prayer or praise reports? We want to remember Sister Audrey Weathersby in our prayers. Her husband passed away Monday evening, uh, so we want to remember Sister Audrey and her family. Uh, his funeral services are scheduled for Friday, uh, August 23rd at 1 p.m. at Eternal Valley. But we'll get more information as time goes on. Any any others? All right. If nothing else, then let's stand, grab a hand that's not your own. Good to see everybody out tonight. I hope a whole bunch of folks are connecting this online. Excuse me.